This is one of the last videos that I'm going to make, unless you email me and ask a question, then I'll make other videos and some explanation and whatnot. But last introduction video before you get started, I'll talk a little bit about testing and grading. So this third piece here, testing and grading. If I look at the class, the way the class is set up, I've talked about this already, but there are lots and lots of assignments. I think there's 40-some assignments, 41 assignments. And those you get lots and lots and lots of practice with. You have an infinite number of times to try those, or an unlimited number of times to try those, and you just keep working on it until you get it right, or figure out the material there, ask questions, ask for help, and all that. I'm going to take, you'll look here, it says average mastery. What you end up getting on that lesson, hopefully it's 100%. Then I'm going to take those scores and put them into the gradebook. So I'm going to take your average for all your assignments. So you're going to get 50% of your grade will be on these assignment grades, and you get lots and lots of tries with those that tell you the answer for the ones you get wrong. So there's a lot of practice and a lot of learning there. However, with the tests, you only get one shot at the test. So there are 7 tests that you are being asked to take for this class to get this credit. And you only get one shot. And that's a little unnerving because with the assignments, you get it wrong, you get to try again, you get to see what you got wrong and work at it and work at it and work at it. But with the tests, that's it. And what I found when I was taking the tests, because I went through the class to make sure everything works the way I wanted to, is I didn't end up getting 100% on all the tests, which you might be thinking, well, if the professor can't get 100%, how can I get 100%? The problem wasn't in understanding, it wasn't in doing all the right work. Okay, it wasn't understanding. What I found was I'd get a problem wrong and I'd say, no. I'd look at the key to see, okay, what did I do wrong? Because what's going on here? And what it ended up being is that I would, some of these problems have like 10 to 15 steps. They're big problems. There's lots of steps, lots of things you have to do to get the answer right. And if you don't bring a negative from step 2 to step 3, if you forget to carry that negative down, or if you forget to reduce a fraction correctly, if you, instead of dividing by 2, you divide by, I don't know, something, a little mistake. So you understand how to do the problem, you know what steps you're supposed to take, but you forget a negative, or you type something in your calculator wrong, and then that one little error carries from step 2 to step 10, and your answer is wrong. Even though you did just about everything right, you did 99% of it right, but you forgot that negative, that's it, it's wrong. And the way that the Newton, I was going to say Khan Academy, the Newton program is set up, it's just 100% or 0%. That's all you get. There's no partial credit set up in this program. So my way around that, or the way I'd like to try and deal with that, is I'm going to ask you, and this is something I'm going to ask you to do for every test, is I am going to ask you to either scan or just use your phone and take pictures, take images of your work. These are big problems for the most part, are big problems. They are going to require work. If you're not writing something down for almost every problem, you're not really doing the work then. Because you need to write these down. These are big problems that you're going to have to work through. There are certainly some questions on graphing where it's just going to ask you, I don't know, is it concave or convex, or it's going to ask you like where are the critical points, and you might be able to look at the graph and just point them out and say that's the one right there. I see it, and I know that. I know which problems really don't require any work that you can certainly do in your head, and so there may not be work to show for some questions. And I'll know that that's the case. If you submit these papers, so I'll have it set up in D2L, where you'll go under assignments, and you're going to see a block there for each test. You're going to see an assignment for each test. You don't have to do anything in that assignment, you just have to submit your work. That way, I can see what you did, and if you got something wrong on the test, I can look back at your work that you've done and say, oh, yep, I see what you did wrong. You understood that and give you some partial credit for that. So I'm not going to give you 100% for that problem, but I can at least give you some extra points so that I can bring that percentage up. If you can show me that you can do the work, that you understand what you're supposed to do, and you know how to do the problem, but you forgot a little step, you reduced something wrong, you added wrong, there was one or two little errors, I want to give you points for that. I want to give you credit for what you know how to do, and not just give you a 0. So that's the biggest thing I'd like to do here, or the biggest reason I'm asking you to do this, is to scan your work or take an image on your phone and upload those images to D2L for each of the tests. You don't have to do this for the assignments. It's 41 assignments. You do not have to tell me the work you did for all those problems for the assignments. That's the practice. That's where you are doing the learning. That work is for you. The tests, however, you get one shot at. I want to make sure that you get credit for all the work that you know how to do. So I am going to ask you to submit that credit. This is also a way for me to have some accountability for the testing, but the most part here is, or the biggest reason I'm asking you to do this, is because I do want to give you as much credit as I can for the work that you're doing. You're going to write stuff down anyways. Keep it organized, number it 1. Some of the tests have 10 questions. Some of the tests have 20. So it depends on the test, but none of them are like 60, 70. There's not a lot of problems. I think the biggest one is 20. After that, they get a little bit smaller. So with testing and grading, to get the full points for the test, you need to submit work. And you submit that work on D2L under assignments. And there's going to be an assignment for each test. That's where you go to submit your work. If you have questions about this, if you're not really sure what's going on, how to do this, ask, and I'd be happy to tell you. If you don't write your work, you type it, which, okay, I'm kind of going, because that seems odd to me, but that's just me. If you want to type your work, you want to write it out on the computer, take a screenshot, submit it that way, save it as a PDF, whatever. If you don't have a scanner, use a phone, use a camera, somehow get that image to me of the work that you've done. Again, questions on any of this, please email me right away. After the first test is submitted from you, I'll check it. If you're missing something, if you don't have the work that I need to see, I'll let you know. I'll email you through the Riverlands or whatever email you have set up here, and I'll make sure that you know what you need to do. Okay? All right, that's it. That's all the little introduction videos I have. Good luck, and email me as soon as you have a question. Email me on problems. Let me know which one you're working on, what it looks like, and I'll try and help you as best I can.